Alright everybody, I just wanted to do a short live stream here about a poll question that I put up in the YouTube community posts. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. Go answer the poll, and feel free to leave a comment there underneath the video, or perhaps in the live chat if you're viewing as we make the video. Your chats are welcome, and we will put them on screen if you should happen to leave one. So today what we're talking about is, again, this community post, which I put up a poll. I put up a poll on YouTube because I really want to know what you think about this matter. And I will eventually, by the end of the video, divulge where I stand on this matter. So, to read from my community post, without respect to whether 7 million votes were actually changed or not, would you prefer that they had or that they hadn't? Would you be happy or angry or both or neither, and in fact neutral in this scenario? I'm very interested in hearing what people have to say, because there are all kinds of different ramifications for all kinds of different situations that could be happening here. And so the premise to the poll is, because this is one of the allegations that you'll hear in the news, among pundits, and among kooks on the internet, the poll premise is as following. And if you've got a response to this, go fill the poll, go answer the poll, whatever. The poll premise is, if 7 million votes were not valid and proven not to be valid, would you likely feel happy, angry, both, or neutral? So, yeah, I find that to be an interesting question, and I won't really answer it right now. Instead, I'll unpack a bunch of what I've just said. We don't know who's won the election in the U.S. because there are at least 4 lawsuits, I believe, to still have to play out, 2 recounts. I don't follow this by the minute. Correct me if I'm wrong and viewing live, and I've I've missed something, and let's just say there's a lot that goes into it. So we're not just talking about counting paper ballots here. We're talking about paper ballots. We're talking about computerized counting of electronic ballots. We're talking about computerized counting of paper ballots and scanning systems and code and all sorts of things, and all sorts of interesting stuff. So also leave us a comment if you think that no fraud has occurred at all. And let me just explain. When I'm talking about fraud regarding the election, I'm talking about election fraud, the general broad term. It includes voter fraud, it includes electioneering at the polling places, it includes vote harvesting, it includes fraudulent voting. I mean, listen, if you think no election fraud happened at all, you would be suggesting that not one illegal alien cast a vote and that vote got counted as valid. So that's the point we're making here. There certainly was some voter fraud. The question is, were 7 million votes somehow changed? Notice how I have not one time made any reference to who the votes were cast for, because I think that's another important distinction to make, because I've been hearing a lot of goalposts getting moved on the internet, where all of a sudden people who are trying to argue that no voter fraud happened, which I don't know how they're going to prove a negative, but all that aside, how are you going to say no voter fraud happened? It's an insane idea. Certainly some voter fraud happened. Some illegal alien cast a vote that got counted, or whatever. Somebody drove to 5 different states and voted in all 5 states. It probably happened. I mean, And listen, if your vote is cast due to hatred, that's more than fine. You're more within your rights to cast votes out of hate. What you're not permitted to do is commit voter fraud. Out of hate, out of love, for any reason, it's still illegal. Motives would be essentially irrelevant when it comes to crimes. Yes, motives are relevant in terms of proving a crime. So yeah, so fill out the poll. You should be able to find it at youtube.com/smAsho under the community posts. And let us know if you'd be happy, angry, both, or neutral when it comes to if 7 million votes were proven to be fraudulent votes in the U.S. through whatever way they were. If it's a total of 7 million votes and it's a combination of 15 different reasons, I mean, you got to realize, folks, there is computer code associated with the 2020 election now. I assume computer code has to be subpoenaed, has already been subpoenaed. Who knows whose legal experts are also computer scientists who are looking at the computer code. So it's going to be a long time until you've got an election result. So be prepared. Be prepared to continue to wait and to continue to hear stories like, we've got news, and the news is that there's no new news in the news about the news on whether or not there's been election fraud. So thanks for leaving a comment, son of Clay. Yes, it was good timing, wasn't it? All right, so back to the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Now, I forecasted back in 2019 it would be a year of clarity this year. I wasn't expecting it to be the year that everybody jumped up and down and said, hi, I don't know anything about infectious diseases, but I would like to argue with you, somebody who does all about it online. Who knew it would also be the year of overreach being exposed all over the place? And speaking of overreach, there's a giant hunting spider on the wall that is far too big to mess with. Go the other way. Jeez. It's pointing toward me. So this thing could probably practically jump on me from this distance. Okay. All right. Though that was a fun little aside. Maybe if I shine UV light on it, it'll work. Doesn't seem to be working. Please go away. All right, I guess it's not hunting for me. I'll just assume that I'll be safe. So yeah, so let's just unpack this. If 7 million votes worth of voter fraud happened, however it was, there are a million different ways that could happen. Is it because of dead people voting? All right. Is it because of that? Is it because of live people voting in 2 different locations? Is it because of electioneering at the polling place? Is it because of voter suppression? Is it because of fear? Is it because of the votes being counted? What to you is more horrifying? Is it more horrifying to have election fraud caused by vote counting? Or is it more horrifying for election to be caused by fraud on the voter side of things? I mean, I certainly know where I stand on that. And as far as being partisan goes, I'm partisan in one way. I don't want to see the government overreach any more than it already does. So this is a constant issue that I've been arguing against since age 4. So I've been critical of the past 3 presidents, and I don't intend to stop now. If you're wondering, like if I'm if I'm on the Trump train or if I'm like a Democrat, or I'm not any of those things. And I was pretty stoked in 2016 about the prospect of a Rand Paul president. And then I was even still pretty stoked about the prospect of a Ted Cruz president. And then I was pretty horrified about the prospect of a Hillary Clinton president, because that would equal the most government overreach. My fiscal concerns over presidential elections have certainly not expired. They are exactly the same as they've been. This is why I'm such an anti-Bernie Sanders person, because Bernie Sanders is one of the worst fiscal ideas in the history of mankind. This is why I'm not a fan of lots of spending, inflation of the money supply, stimulus, and high taxes. I'd like to see low taxes and low spending. I'd like to see the federal government do a lot less things. And fortunately, not that many things have been happening this year as far as the executive branch goes. So if you notice, there's been no national mask mandates. There's been no national lockdowns. And this is because, let's just back up here. A $15 minimum wage. Let's think about this. A $15 minimum wage would put vast swaths of people out of work. Think of a place that has a fairly low-cost standard of living. Someplace like, I'm just going to guess here, I'm going to say Mississippi. Mississippi has a fairly low cost of living, I believe, or it used to, at least when I used to be in the insurance industry. If you institute a $15 national minimum wage, you're going to lay off like a quarter of the population of Mississippi. This has already happened in California. You know, McDonald's instantly got rid of... All right, it's coming toward me. The spider is coming toward me. The McDonald's instantly got rid of... all right, you're gonna have to bear with me a moment here. I'm gonna have to capture this spider because it's way too big for me to have walking around the house. It is freaking... I can't even catch it. I am freaked out. This thing is like way too big to be hanging around. All right, never mind. I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna ignore it. He won't eat much. McDonald's cashiers were laid off instantly because of a $15 minimum wage. It's a known thing. The real minimum wage is $0, and if a company can't afford, if you're not providing more than $15 of value for a company, they cannot hire you at $15 per hour. It's basically that simple. So anyway. So back to this concept of 7 million fraudulent votes. What do you think? Again, check out the poll. Let us know. I'd be interested in seeing a little more votes here. Yeah. And if you'd like to explain or remain anonymous, that's up to you. Right? I don't care who anybody voted for. I want to see every valid vote counted and every illegal vote thrown away. Actually, I don't even think they throw away the illegal votes. I think they save them all. So let's hope not too many ballots went up in ashes. And let's hope that the computer code for these vote counting systems and for Google, Facebook, and Twitter gets subpoenaed so that they can be examined by computer scientists on both sides of the legal arguments and settle the thing. Incidentally, it doesn't have to be settled until, December 13th? So again, don't hold your breath for concession speeches or for acceptance speeches or for anybody to legitimately be president-elect. Regardless of what happens with that, the president will still be the president up until January 20th or whatever the date is. In the meantime, don't lose your you-know-what. We are out. It's about time to end this live stream before I get run over by a spider. And I'll see you next time here at the Smash News Network. I've been Dan, a.k.a. SMASho. Check out the merch, by the way. You can pick up your own. through links at smashomash.com. Damn it.